Hi, I'm Scott Budden. I'm the founder, owner, and operator of Orchard Point Oyster Company. We are a small family-owned and operated aquaculture oyster farm located here on Maryland's Eastern Shore, specifically within the Chester River. And our brand name for our oyster product is Orchard Point Oysters. So the goal of our company is kind of twofold. Basically, number one, we'd like to be able to be profitable, harvest our oysters for the lucrative half-shell market. Right now, oysters are kind of going through this renaissance where they're really hot right now. Demand is really outstripping supply. Growers can't seem to meet the demand, so we're trying to take advantage of that by raising a premium product. So our product is a farmed oyster. It's a little bit different than, say, a wild oyster. And most of these raw bars in the raw bar market, they like to look for a farmed oyster, primarily because it's very consistent, both in the aesthetic and the flavor. So I'll show you a little example of an oyster that we raised, and this one's already been consumed. But we do a lot of husbandry on the farm, basically in the spring, summer, and fall, to ensure that we have a nice deep cup, nice clean shell, and that allows the meat to be plump and able to be harvested year-round. So it's a lot of work that goes in each oyster. That's probably touched about 24 times before it reaches your plate. Another differentiation we have between, say, a farmed oyster and a wild oyster is that we're actually able to harvest year-round. Our oysters, most of them aren't spawning in the summertime, so the old adage of don't eat oysters in a month without an R kind of doesn't apply to ours, because we can have them in the summertime through time and temperature controls, refrigeration, to ensure that it's the freshest product coming to you tied to table. And so, oysters are hot right now. They're fun to eat. They're good for you. They're really a sexy product, and we're trying to take advantage of that and help meet that demand. The second goal of the company really is kind of concurrent to our processes, and that's to be sustainable. So, that's kind of the 21st century buzzword. Everybody throws it around. At Orchard Point Oyster Company, we kind of define it basically in two ways. Number one, that we're able to do what we're doing and continue to do it in perpetuity or forever. So as long as the hatcheries in the bay and up and down the East Coast are continuing to produce oyster seed, we can continue to plant crops year after year and harvest year after year. So we're only basically taking out what we're putting in. It's not just a take type fishery. So as long as hatcheries continue to do what they're doing, we should be able to continue to raise an oyster all the way from a millimeter or two all the way up to a market size 3-inch plus oyster. The second part of how we define sustainability is that we have a zero or positive impact on the ambient environment. So oysters are great. They're filter feeders. They help address the chief problem with the Chesapeake Bay, and that's too many nutrients causing too much algae to basically grow in the water, blocking sunlight and hampering habitat for animals as well as oxygen levels. So oysters, like for example, one this size can filter about 50 gallons of water a day while they're growing. So they're tremendous filter feeders. They can clear the water up and create water clarity, habitat for other Chesapeake Bay species. So they're really, really good at filtering the water and taking care of the bay's biggest problem. Kind of just as a neat little byproduct of growing them. So we're kind of getting out of our startup phase a little bit. We're finishing up with our capital purchases, and we're about to start our harvest. Hopefully within this fall or winter we'll have product to market under the brand name Orchard Point Oysters, so look for that. The goal of the company is to continue to grow, put more and more oysters in the water, harvest more and more, expand from the East Coast, expand from Maryland, take advantage of some of these other landlocked states that really have a high demand for oysters, believe it or not. And one day when the work gets too hard, maybe look for an exit strategy and maybe sell the thing, or who knows, maybe diversify our lines, start growing clams, get into the raw bar restaurant business, or retail seafood. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities out there, hinging on the back of this little guy. So in conclusion, I want to thank Startup Maryland for giving us this opportunity to pitch our business idea and our business process. And you can look for us online at www.orchardpointoysters.com, or on Facebook you just do a search for Orchard Point Oysters. And thanks everybody. Keep on shucking, Maryland.